This news program is proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Now Biscuits.
Criminals carrying guns and other weapons warned by Police Commissioner David Manning. Catholics in Montfort Parish farewell missionaries. And firewood seller says Christmas to be no different. Good evening, this is National EMTV News. I'm Godwin Eki. Thank you for joining us. Papua New Guinea's Governor-General Grand Chief Sir Bob Dadai and Lady Emmeline Dadai have paid a courtesy visit to Tonga's Prime Minister, COC Sovaleni, in Tonga's capital, Nuku'alofa. Grand Chief Sir Bob Dadai conveyed PNG government's commitment in education and military assistance towards the island nation.
Governor-General Grand Chief Sir Bob Dadai, during his meet with Tonga's Prime Minister COC Sovaleni, conveyed PNG government's commitment to provide education sponsorship for 2 Tongan students at any tertiary institution in PNG. Furthermore, our Vice-Regal also assured the Tongan Prime Minister Sovaleni PNG government's commitment to provide military assistance for rebuilding and restoration of communities who were affected by the volcanic eruption early this year. Tongan Prime Minister COC Sovaleni acknowledged the Governor-General's message and said Tonga is grateful for the close relationship shared between the 2 countries and that these announced commitments by the Vice-Regal of PNG now further strengthens this relationship. The Governor-General Grand Chief Sir Bob Dadai and Lady Emmeline will spend Christmas and New Year in Tonga. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
Commissioner of Police David Manning has made it clear that criminals carrying guns and other weapons are at high risk of being killed through the legitimate use of force by disciplined forces personnel. Mr. Manning comments comes after the government's announced intention for legislative amendments on offences and categories of assault relating to officials involved in security and public administration will provide a further deterrence to targeted attacks.
In a 2-page statement released to media houses this morning, the Commissioner of Police, David Manning, has made it clear that criminals carrying guns and other weapons are at high risk of being killed through the legitimate use of force by disciplined forces personnel. Mr. Manning said the government's announced intention for legislative amendments on offences and categories of assault relating to officials involved in security and public administration will provide a further deterrence to targeted attacks. Commissioner Manning said, and I quote, "The Prime Minister has made it very clear to gunmen and other criminals that choose to carry weapons to cause fear and to harm other people will most likely be shot and die as a result of their injuries." End quote. The 2-page media statement went on to state that an escalated response to a criminal brandishing a gun is law enforcement procedure in countries around the world because the primary concern is the protection of the public ahead of the safety of the gunmen. The Commissioner said the intended criminal code amendments to escalate the level of charges and penalties for attacks on security and government officials are a step forward in strengthening law and order. Manning said, and I quote, "It must be clear to criminals that if they attempt interference with the administration of government and law and order in our country, they will be signalled out and face harsher penalties." End quote. This is likely to include charges to categories of assault relating to private citizens, members of the disciplined forces and members of parliament, and penalties dependent on aggravating circumstances as the official assaulted, wounded or killed. The police commissioner concluded by stating that disciplined forces personnel are the front line of the nation's attack on criminals, and often their response is to target police, military or lawmakers. With the growth of international organized crime attempting to infiltrate our country, Manning says the threat is growing. It is imperative that Papua New Guinea increases its mechanisms to meet these challenges. Rocky Iso, National EMTV News.
The Royal PNG Constabulary is now recruiting interested applicants who wish to join the Bougainville service. The recruitment drive will come in 2 phases, which are the normal recruitment drive and a cadet training officer within the RPNGC hierarchy. This was alluded to by Deputy Police Commissioner and Chief of Bougainville Police, Francis Tokura.
Chief of Bougainville Police, Francis Tokura, has advised all interested applicants in the region to submit their applications to respective police station commanders in North, Central and South Bougainville to be registered and for screening process to follow. The Chief of Police in the region said all vacancies have been advertised and he called on all interested Bougainvillians to apply. He further said applications opened last Wednesday and will officially close on the 20th of January 2023. Meanwhile, police in the region will continue their festive season operations, patrolling the streets of Buka, Arawa and Buin towns respectively. Chief Tokura said everyone has a responsibility of care to play in the community and has appealed to parents to take care and caution their teenage children of misbehaving in public places during the Christmas and New Year period. In concluding, Tokura wished everyone in the autonomous region of Bougainville and elsewhere season's greetings and a safe and prosperous New Year 2023. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
The leaders of Community Mine Continuation Agreement or CMCA villages in Western Province, excluding mine area landowners representing 150,000 people, are concerned with recent events at Oktedi Mining Limited. They say the company's corporate governance has been compromised by political interference and want the mine to operate without any disturbances to its operation. They made this call during a media conference held in Kyonga today.
Speaking on behalf of the communities in Western Province, Chairman of the Mineral Resources Community Mine Continuation Agreement, James Asson, opposed the actions of a few mine area landowners that disputed production in Finalbin village last Friday. He says those involved do not represent the views of CMCA communities who are part of OTML.
We therefore want to make our positions public to ensure OTML as a company is protected and good governance is restored. We therefore demand the following. 1. OTML board and management be allowed to manage the company without any political influence. OTML is different to all other SOEs and must not be treated like those SOEs. 2. OTML board to proceed with the recruitment of a new managing director, CEO, and successful candidate be appointed on merit. We prefer an expatriate be considered to maintain neutrality.
He added that the company's management must ensure first preference for contracts are given to impacted communities through umbrella companies and not given to those that are not impacted by OTML's operation, and CMCA review be brought forward to next year to negotiate a new benefit package.
We therefore expect that the board and the management be allowed to perform the roles without any undue external influence.
He says all community leaders in the Western Province will not hesitate to take further actions if these demands, which are proper, fair and reasonable, are not conceded. Leaders in Western are now calling for transparent leadership be maintained for smooth operations at the Oktedi mine. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
A week-long training on financial literacy training in Medang has seen a women's association group receive their certificates on how to manage their finances. The Coastal Pipeline Women's Association was the second association from the Ramu Nickel Project impacted community group that received their certificates under the theme Spend Below What You Earn and Save Every Day or Every Week. The training was facilitated and prepared by USAID Lookout Team Ground program under its Women's Economic Empowerment program that was recommended by People's Micro Bank branch in Medang for the Coastal Pipeline Women's Association committee members to be educated on.
With inflation impacting the global and domestic markets and forecasted to continue to next year, it is imperative to create a budget and to learn how to save money during this period. For the Ramoniko Coastal Pipeline Women's Association from Medang, the training on financial literacy for literate mothers was an eye-opener. Chairlady Ruth Kamayadi said she was very happy to fund a one-week training for her committee members to attend, for them to bring back the knowledge to the mothers in the 3 zones of the association.
All zone committees, 3+ zone committees inside Long Coastal Pipeline Women's Association. Mi placa 3+ zone. All big group lo mi bla inside Long little group iga tol executives na iga tol. When I'm big group to, I'm all staff tambo. Na mi bla sabi work hard to one time all this long group work here.
The Coastal Pipeline Women's Association committee members that received the certificate from the USAID under the financial literacy program come from 3 zones: Marika Zone, Bugatti Zone, and Siroy Zone. Trainer Tina Manab said during the presentation of certificates that the unit that was covered during the week was finalized under the USAID and the Central Bank of Papua New Guinea. She said Maigari Inland Pipeline was the first to receive the program, and the Coastal Pipeline Women's Association committee members are very fortunate to receive the training on financial literacy.
Can you start to save? Can you start a budget? Can you send a certificate? Or say no. I'm not guaranteeing. You need too much work. To claro, simulating the savings someone else. Spend less than you earn. Save something every day or week.
Ramoniko Community Affairs Officer Sakaias Abaro said Ramoniko Management Limited is always proud to see its landowners educating themselves on ways they can manage their portions of royalty beneficiary.
When they undergo such training, it helps them to develop their knowledge more into business, so it helps sustain themselves, their families, and more of this should be organized, and more women, especially local women, has to participate and have this knowledge so that it helps them to utilize royalty and other sources.
According to Abaro, programs like the financial literacy training reduces the number of people spending unwisely and builds a strong savings and budgeting foundation in their wallets and billums, and reduces unnecessary spending in the community. Rocky Iso, National EMTV News.
National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to National EMTV News. The 20 Days of Human Rights Activism campaign against gender-based violence, including family and sexual violence and other human rights violations that are prevalent in PNG, started on the 21st of November and ended on the 10th of December. It is part of the global 16 Days of Activism, where in PNG, the campaign promotes human rights of women and children, people with disabilities, people living with HIV and AIDS, and commemorates the efforts of national activists in ending gender-based violence, family and sexual violence, and sorcery accusation-related violence. We now take a closer look at the events that transpired in the past 20 days of the human rights activism in the country.
The 20 Days of Human Rights Activism was launched on the 21st of November 2022 at the sub-national level in Enga Province. In front of respective representatives of state agencies, development partners, NGOs, provincial stakeholders, and the people of Enga, the Minister for Youth, Religion and Community Development, Jason Peter, officially launched the activism campaign and spoke on the significance of respecting individuals' rights. He said every Papua New Guinean has the right to a life free of violence. This is a fundamental human right recognized in international human rights instruments and the national constitution. Everyone is obligated to respect the rights of others and promote a community free of violence and oppression. About 8 events were rolled out during the 20 Days of Human Rights Activism campaign in PNG. International Children's Day, International Volunteers Day, World AIDS Day, International Day for Persons with Disability, International Anti-Corruption Day, International Women Human Rights Defenders Day, International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, and International Human Rights Day. Following the official launching of the 20 Days of Human Rights Activism at Warbeck Primary School, the Department of Community Development and Religion, in partnership with the Enga Provincial Government, UNDP, UN Women, Australian High Commission, CIMC, and the National Fisheries Authority, conducted a GBV consultation workshop as programmed under the 20 Days of Human Rights Activism campaign. Deputy Secretary responsible for Community Development Division, Warren Marab, stressed that human rights issues is everyone's business, which needs a holistic partnership in ending all forms of violence. As the 20 Days of Human Rights Activism campaign continues to be celebrated in PNG, 7 members of the new Permanent Parliamentary Committee on Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment were sworn in at the National Parliament. NCD Governor Powers Pakop is the chairman, ACP Governor Alan Baird is the deputy chairman, and committee members include Wawari MP, Marsh Narowek, Alata Open MP, Ricky Morris, Mosby Northwest MP, Lawyer Boyer Samuel, Central Governor Rufina Peter, and Koroba Kopiago MP William Bando. All took their oath of office and pledged they are committed in using their mandate to progress women's empowerment and to continue previous efforts to tackle gender-based violence. However, the acting justice coordinator, Ronald Howard, said there is no proper channel of communication between them and the parliamentary committee on how to address human rights issues in the country.
Our connection with them is not that effective, and even we don't know what they're doing, what's their role, and we are doing implementing justice policy through DPM, through community development, but the role of those parliamentary committees and how they're gonna relate to us or work in partnership with us and how we're gonna address, there is no clear collaboration or partnership between us and them. So.
The International Children's Day was the first event of the 20 Days of Activism campaign. Minister for Community Development, Youth and Religion, Jason Peter, said PNG is a signatory to the ratification of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Children. He stated that a major increase in resources and political will to invest in children and put their well-being at the center of the political, economic and social agendas will protect and promote the rights and well-being for all children.
Papua New Guinea enacted a law on the rights of child. The LPA sets out a number of children's rights, including the rights to life, to health, to education, and to play, as well as the right to family life, to be protected from violence.
The country representative for the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, Dr. Claude Kamenga, said in the next 20 to 30 years, children will be in charge of taking this country forward. And the vision of a smart, wise, fair, healthy and happy society by 2050 would be effective if the government gives priority to children's health, education and protect them from all forms of violence and abuse.
The government is that if government fails children, it fails the future of this beautiful country. So it's critical that more be done to advance the rights of children.
A mother from the Joyce Bay community, Rachel Evoko, said children in her community are badly influenced by Western influences, which are considered harmful.
Many children are orphans. Many children are living under auntie, uncle's roof, or grandmother look out him, grandfather. And it's a lot of pain I have seen.
The chairman of the National Office for Child and Family Services, Jerry Ubase, challenged all parents to be better parents by ensuring every child enjoys all their rights starting at home. He also urged adults and parents to be good role models to children.
Children will learn from us. As parents and as employees, as elders, we need to lead by example to show our children. So as soon as they grow up, they'll be better citizens of this country.
The civil society organization had its third forum as part of the 20 Days Human Rights Activism campaign aimed at advocating for the protection of individuals through strengthening institutions, legislative reforms, and stronger push to establish the Human Rights Commission and pass the Human Rights Defenders Protection Bill into law by November 2023. The Acting First Assistant Secretary Community Learning, Community Environment and Informal Economy, David Nungi, stressed that there is a challenge to focus on youth and to educate them on human rights and gender-based violence.
Completed one, the reviewed National Informal Economy Policy 2023 to 2032, 10 years span. Two, we've completed the Community Development Bill. And three, we've completed the Social Impact Assessment, totally for the department.
The UN Women Country Representative Themba Kalua requested the government of PNG to increase funding to human rights organizations to assist in ending all forms of violence in the country.
It requires all of us to step up as partners in the fight against gender-based violence. It requires strong partnerships. We need to mobilize men as allies in the fight against gender-based violence. We need to work with churches, community leaders, so we need to expand our partnerships.
Shelley Kauper from Magna Carta, a community-based human rights organization involved in protecting, reporting and educating awareness of human rights since 2014, raised a concern on behalf of the person with disability on the 3rd of December to mark the International Day of Persons with Disability. She said persons with disabilities in PNG face issues daily, most importantly, their survival kit and enabling system.
We actually call on the government, the mandated custodians of all the laws and policies, and the ones that should be implementing those policies and programs into activities that benefit all our persons with disabilities in the remote, rural districts, wards, and to the Haben.
She raised 5 points on behalf of the PWD. She appealed to the mandated office to provide the status of the disability bill, that the SIP and PSIP must have specific fractions that indicate improving services to persons with disabilities at the ward and district level. All MPs must know the number of PWDs in their electorate. Government should consider PWDs' accessibility to the roads and their mobility. And Education Department must improve inclusive education in every province. The founder of Magna Carta, Shelley Kauper, said PNG is governed by the Constitution and everyone must respect the constitutional rights, especially our leaders.
This day we want to talk about the Constitution of our country, which connects to the International Human Rights Declaration, the very strong instrument that was put by United Nations in 1946 that binds all the states together. And that is captured in the Constitution of Papua New Guinea.
During the International Anti-Corruption Day, the Program Manager for Advancing PNG, Women Leader Network Kathy Alex said, the government services in PNG do not reach out to the majority of the people living in rural areas of the country. She further challenged the government agencies and other organizations to work in collaboration with the government to stop corruption and bring services into the rural areas.
We say corruption, all of us are looking at our leaders. Do we put our pressure on the leaders or do we also encourage corruption ourselves as citizens? We may think it's a policy level, we may think it's, we wait for this to come to pass, we wait for this law. While we are waiting, our people are dying.
The Chief Secretary to Government, Department of the Prime Minister, and the National Executive Council, Ivan Pomalu, said despite all the negative views of corruption in the country, there is increased focus on anti-corruption in Papua New Guinea. He said the current government has progressed key initiatives to the finish line and the parliament has passed several important pieces of legislation, including the organic law to establish the Independent Commission Against Corruption.
The onus is now upon us to implement this legislation, to set up the necessary framework and mechanisms to facilitate for cooperation and inclusive collaboration to address corruption at all levels in our society.
As the 20 Days of Human Rights Activism campaign came to its conclusion with the commemoration of the Human Rights Day, the members of the new Parliamentary Committee on Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment commended the government for awarding 13 NGOs financial grants that will enable them to do more work to address gender-based violence across the country. The Department for Community Development and Religion, with support from the United Nations Development Programme, held a ceremony with the 13 NGOs grantees to officially award them their funding. Department for Community Development and Religion and UNDP are jointly funding the grants, with the Department for Community Development and Religion drawing on the portion of the 7.93 million kina allocated by the government to address GBV in 2022. The NGOs were selected for grants following an open call for expressions of interest, which sought NGO proposals related to prevention of GBV and SARV and the provision of crisis response and recovery services to GBV and SARV survivors.
National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to National EMTV News. Devoted Catholics gathered at the Morata St. Martin's Catholic Church to close the 2022 Continental Mission Year of Montfort Missionaries in Asia and Oceania. Gathered to witness this momentous occasion were parishioners and friends of St. Martin's Parish, including cardinals, said John Ribat, who was the main celebrant, assisted by Bishop Rosario Menezes of Lay Diocese.
The significant occasion in the Catholic calendar was well attended by faithfuls from the Catholic Church from throughout the city. After the Mass, gifts were presented to the Superior General of Montfort Missionaries from Rome, including of PNG, India, Indonesia, and the Philippines. Devoted Catholic Church goers expressed their appreciation by presenting gifts to each of the Superior Generals. The Continental Mission Year of Montfort Missionaries' work in PNG not only focuses on the spiritual side. They are also engaged in various activities, including prison and orphanage visitations, health and education awareness, and youth empowerment within the communities where the church is situated. Various celebrations, including traditional sing-sing groups, performed for the guests to conclude the main celebration of the closing of the Continental Mission Year. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
Rigo East is now the first LLG in Rigo District of Central Province to establish a coffee nursery farm. The Rabua Makana Coffee Nursery has over 22,000 coffee seedlings supplied by the PNG Coffee Industry Corporation. Rabua Makana Coffee Nursery is a new initiative started in 2020 by Koya Investment Limited in collaboration with the PNG Coffee Industry Corporation.
16,000 seedlings of Robusta coffee and 6,000 Arabica coffee were distributed to the farmers. Each farmer received over 200 seedlings to be transplanted in their own farms. According to the Provincial Coffee Coordinator for Central and Gulf Provinces, Jorin Hetora, about 122 hectares of land will be cultivated for coffee planting, and the target is to cover 300 hectares hectares of land. He said the plan is to set up 4 coffee factories for Central Province, 2 for Robusta coffee and 2 for Arabica coffee. Etora added that currently the cost of putting up a coffee factory is between 600,000 to 1 million kina and is calling on the government to assist PNG-CIC in building the factories. Deputy Administrator for Central Province, Kila Gege, assured him that the Central Provincial Government will support the initiative. He said the government has introduced the Coffee Ministry and a lot of opportunities will be introduced under this new ministry. This initiative will greatly benefit the people of Central Province. Cynthia Maku, National EMTV News.
39-year-old Samson Gabriel from Central Province has been selling firewood for 20 years in order to make ends meet for him and his family, while Gabriel is calling on his leaders in the district to help support him and those involved in selling firewood to generate income. He says this Christmas won't be any different. He says while other families and individuals look forward to celebrate Christmas, for him it is business as usual. This is 39-year-old Samson Gabriel, who comes from Tapini in the Goilala district of Central Province. For more than 2 decades, Gabriel says he started chopping firewood with his family only to make ends meet. Gabriel, who now supports his elder brother, also doing the same thing, selling firewood in various parts of the city, buy off all tree stumps and barks for little over 100 kina, then chops them into little pieces to sell for about 5 kina per bunch. With the high increase in unemployment in the city and the struggle that comes with it, Gabriel says chopping firewood and selling them has really made life easier, although it is still a struggle.
Mipla been walking lo herima, time been stop 1 kina, history blow stop firewood. Me starting. Lo herima mipla go planting firewood, kam mipla bun walking we go now, and mipla walking lo 2 kina go na big bla fight kira, lo side blow competition so me kam lo hola. Na me running lo hola time mola market lo upside lo stop TST na side market la alright. And mipla sa puti anta lo bus stop na brick. And mipla puti la go go on top of 3 kina ECC, go on top 4 kina. Lo up go come up 5 kina now. Now I'm also running 5 kina and 5 kina.
He says this Christmas will be no different for him, as work must continue for him as a firewood seller. He said this time of the year will be busy for him and his fellow firewood sellers around the city.
Weekly, lo one per day, me block almost 500, 300. Every day, everyday money. Weekend, and people also working 2,000 plus, 1,000 plus. Firewood got big plus, also money cash flow low up. So this la working na big bro adlo losing firewood and stop, people stop.
Gabriel says while this helps make ends meet, selling firewood has helped him to sustain his daily life. But not only that, customers have become friendly and familiar with him as they come by to purchase firewood. Even customers turn up in their vehicles or even taxi to purchase firewood.
Mipla firewood work mipla by no stop and mipla by continue. That's all. All plans and Christmas and time la mama so still mipla by mipla by walk by go yet. No enough stop.
Many of his customers are nearby food store sellers and other small SME businesses that operate locally. As far as he is concerned, this time of the year, as Christians look forward to celebrate Christmas, it will be busy time ahead where customers will come by to purchase firewood. Certain parts of the city, namely Waigani, Hohola, 9 Mile, Erima, Manu and Koki, will be selling firewood for those looking to celebrate this festive season with their loved ones for barbecue and open fire or earth oven. National EMTV News continues after the break with Trukai Sports. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. The Southern Region 9's tournament commenced its 2022 playoff today at the Santos National Football Stadium. The tournament was officially launched by the event's keynote speaker and United Nations resident coordinator Richard Howard.
Before the official opening, a dance group from the Aroma coastline performed a dance to officially signal the welcome to the invited guests and teams. Resident coordinator of the United Nations and tournament keynote speaker Richard Howard, in his speech, highlighted that this was his first experience in PNG Rugby Nines and encouraged the players to play and enjoy the tournament in the true spirit of PNG Rugby Nines.
The youth, the young people of Papua New Guinea are the future. And today are really the foundation for building the skills we need in life, leadership, working with others, teamwork, generally learning how we can get along to achieve goals. Sports is an excellent training ground for all the complicated realities of life.
Tournament director and founder, Mr. Ivan Ravu, shared that this year's tournament is all about connecting the people of the southern region through this Rugby Nines festival.
But as for the tournament this year, I'd like to say thank you very much to the teams and the officials and your sponsors that make our tournament a success. It's all about you, and I want you to enjoy what you're doing. But as I've always said, play to the true spirit of sportsmanship. We are creating a network, relationships through sports of rugby league. And I want you to always aspire.
After the speeches, Pool B teams who were set to take the field assembled and conducted the official opening. The grandstand wing of the stadium was packed with well-spirited supporters, spectators and fans who energetically supported their respective teams throughout the day. Round 1 of Game 1 ended today with a clash between KI Car Rugby League Club and Gera Gaivakala under Pool L. Tomorrow will be Round 2, and with the interest shown today, Round 2 is expected to unfold with a greater turnout from especially the Motuan community. Lisa Puni, Trukai Sports.
Trukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
You're watching Trukai Sports. In overseas sports, Australia has wrapped up the T20 series against India after beating the host by 7 runs.
This morning, Elise Perry posted 72 not outs from just 42 deliveries as the visitors finished with their 20 overs on 3 for 188 in response. India could only reach 5 for 181. Ashley Gardner and Alana King each picked up 2 wickets as Australia took an unassailable 3-1 lead in the series. The only blow for Australia was a calf injury to skipper Alyssa Healy, which forced her to leave the field.
The Adelaide 36 thrashed the Brisbane Bullets 108 points to 77 in the National Basketball League.
Robert Franks had 25 points for the Sixers, while Jason Cadee top scored for the Bullets with 18 points. The win moved the Sixers up to 7th on the competition ladder. Earlier, the Cairns Taipans beat the Tasmania Jack Jumpers 91 points to 82 in Hobart. Keanu Pinder top scored for the Taipans with 34 points, while Jack McVeigh hit 17 for the Jack Jumpers. Cairns now sit in 3rd position.
Australia's Mac Keon won 2 gold medals of the World Short Course Championships in Melbourne last night.
McKeon was a member of the gold medal winning 4x50 metres medley relay team. The team won the race in world record time. Later in the night, McKeon followed up by winning the 50 metres freestyle event in championship record time. Australia sits 2nd on the medal tally with 11 gold medals, 2 behind the United States of America.
That ends Trukai Sports. The weather report is next. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports. True Kai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
Weather forecast for the next 24 hours. Southern region, Port Moresby, Kerema, Alatau, Popondetta, cloudy with some showers and possible thunderstorms. Daru, cloudy periods with a shower or two. In the Momase region, Lae, Medang, Wewak and Banimo, cloudy with some showers and thunderstorm. In the New Guinea Islands region, Lorengau, partly cloudy with brief showers. Kavieng, cloudy with some showers and possible thunderstorm. Kokoporabao and Kimbe, few showers and possible thunderstorm, easing into cloudy periods. Buka, brief showers with possible thunderstorm. In the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, Goroka and Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg, cloudy with rain showers and thunderstorm.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
And that wraps up the news, sports and weather for Sunday, the 18th of December 2022. From all of us here, pleasant viewing. Bye for now.
This news program was proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Gold Nuggets.